I did switch to like steak and eggs for breakfast, and I found that's like a power up.
You bite into a sandwich, sip your morning coffee, or unwrap a quick snack and you think nothing of it. But what if that bread was softened using amino acids extracted from human hair? What if your favorite treat was made with industrial solvents, synthetic preservatives, or even meat byproducts unfit for a butcher's counter in a world where convenience rules? Have we become blind to what's really going into our bodies? According to FDA data, the average American consumes over 60 pounds of additives each year: preservatives, flavor enhancers, stabilizers, and chemicals you can't even pronounce. The worst part, many of them are hiding in the foods we trust most. This isn't fear-mongering, it's fact. And once you know what's really inside these 15 everyday products, you may never look at your grocery list the same way again. This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Number 1. Packaged bread. What if the soft, golden loaf sitting on your kitchen counter wasn't just made of flour, water, and yeast, but of something much more disturbing? Elon Musk's warning might sound dramatic, but once you discover what's really inside most packaged bread in America, you'll think twice before ever slicing into another store-bought loaf again. Packaged bread, with its near-perfect shape and unnatural ability to stay fresh for over a week, is a marvel of modern food science. But here's the hidden cost: that fluffy texture is not just the result of baking mastery. It's often thanks to a chemical compound called L-cysteine, a dough conditioner added to extend shelf life and improve softness. That might sound harmless until you learn where it comes from. L-cysteine is commonly extracted from some truly grotesque sources: human hair, poultry feathers, cow horns, and yes, pig bristles. Much of the human hair used is swept up from salon floors in countries like China, chemically processed, and then added to the bread you serve your family. It's hard to imagine that your sandwich could be held together by the remnants of someone's haircut. But that's the uncomfortable truth. Compare this to bread from your local bakery. It's usually made with only flour, water, salt, and yeast. No additives. No hidden animal byproducts. No processed hair. Just real ingredients. Baked fresh daily. The difference is night and day, and yet, most American households still reach for that neatly packaged bread, oblivious to what they're really consuming. So ask yourself, is the convenience of long shelf life worth the cost of unknowingly eating processed hair and animal parts? The next time you're in the bread aisle, remember Elon Musk's words. That pristine loaf might be hiding more than you ever imagined, and the truth should leave a sour taste in your mouth. Number 2. Ketchup. It looks innocent enough sitting next to your fries, that familiar red bottle with its cheerful label and promise of tomato goodness. But what if we told you that the ketchup most Americans squeeze onto their burgers and hot dogs is far from the wholesome image it projects? Elon Musk didn't hold back when he said, "Stop buying these products after you know what they're made of." And ketchup, yes, ketchup is one of them. Let's start with what you think you're getting: tomatoes, spices, maybe a dash of vinegar. But what you're actually getting is a sticky, sugar-loaded syrup concoction hiding behind a tomato red mask. Most commercial ketchups are dominated by high-fructose corn syrup, a cheap and highly processed sugar that gives ketchup its addictive sweetness. It's a financial win for food manufacturers, but a ticking time bomb for your blood sugar levels. In fact, 1 tablespoon of typical ketchup can contain more sugar than the same amount of ice cream. Let that sink in. And the deception doesn't end there. Many of the budget brands don't even use real tomatoes. Instead, they substitute cheaper ingredients like papaya or white melon to mimic the texture of tomatoes without offering any of the vitamins or flavor. Then comes the heating process, which further strips away essential nutrients like vitamin A and vitamin C. What's left is a shiny, shelf-stable product that's more about marketing than nourishment. Have you ever wondered why ketchup never goes bad, even after weeks sitting in your pantry? That's thanks to the heavy preservatives packed into every bottle. These additives keep the ketchup looking fresh while silently loading your diet with chemicals your body never asked for. So here's the question: are you really okay pouring a sugar-heavy, nutrient-depleted, artificially colored sauce on your plate every day? The next time your hand reaches for that red bottle, remember this isn't just ketchup, it's a laboratory formula dressed up as food. Number 3. Ice cream. Nothing screams comfort like a scoop of ice cream on a scorching summer day. It's cold, creamy, and nostalgic, the kind of simple joy we all grew up loving. But what if that pint sitting in your freezer isn't as innocent as it seems? Let's peel back the label. We assume ice cream is just cream, sugar, and natural flavorings. But the truth, your favorite brand may be laced with propylene glycol, a chemical more commonly used as antifreeze. Yes, you read that right. This food-grade antifreeze is added to keep the ice cream soft and scoopable straight from the freezer, unlike homemade ice cream, which hardens naturally and honestly. The store-bought kind is engineered for convenience with a side of chemicals. And that's just the beginning. Stabilizers like Gar Gum and carrageenan are added to mimic creaminess and prevent ice crystals from forming. These compounds create that silky mouthfeel that fools you into thinking it's fresh and pure, but it's not. And what about volume? Many commercial brands whip extra air into their products. Up to 50% of what you're scooping might actually be just air. You're not only paying for less cream, you're literally buying fluff. Think about this, would you still call it ice cream if it was half air and a dash of antifreeze? That soft texture isn't magic, it's manipulation. And it's time we question how something so chemically enhanced has become a staple in American freezers. So the next time you're about to indulge in a pint of your favorite commercial brand, ask yourself, do I want dessert? Or do I want a lab experiment disguised as comfort food? Knowing what's really inside might just change the way you see that next creamy scoop. Number 4, Pringles and potato chips. You might think you're biting into a crisp, golden slice of potato, but what if we told you that Pringles aren't even made from real potato slices? That satisfying crunch, that perfectly uniform shape, that iconic pop of the can, it's all a brilliantly engineered illusion. Behind the scenes. What you're actually eating is a highly processed, factory-designed product that barely resembles a real potato at all. Pringles don't start with a potato. They begin life as a powdered blend of rice, corn, and dehydrated potato flakes. Yes, flakes, not slices. This mixture is turned into a soft, pliable dough, much like cookie dough, which is then rolled out by machines into thin sheets. From there, identical oval shapes are cut out and molded into that familiar saddle-like curve. That shape isn't just for looks, it's designed to prevent breakage in the can and trick your senses into thinking you're eating something more real than you are. But here's the kicker. Every single chip in that can is identical, not just in shape, but in taste, crunch, and chemical structure. Why? Because it's all been manufactured to deliver the same addictive sensation with every bite. The chips are briefly flash fried, blasted with synthetic flavor powders, and sealed into that iconic tube for maximum shelf life, not nutrition. And let's talk about that flavor, whether it's sour cream, barbecue, jalapeno, or loaded cheeseburger. It's all artificial lab-created compounds designed to hijack your brain's pleasure centers. These chips aren't just snacks. They're edible algorithms, crafted to make you crave more with zero regard for what your body actually needs. Studies have shown that ultra-processed foods like these are linked to higher risks of obesity, heart disease, and metabolic disorders. Yet, they're marketed as fun, harmless snacks. So here's the terrifying truth: you're not eating food, you're consuming a formula. Is this even food anymore, or just a hyper-engineered snack designed to keep me hooked? Number 5, apple juice. It's golden, it's glossy, and it's sold to us as liquid health in a bottle. Apple juice, a childhood favorite and a refrigerator staple, seems like the very picture of vitality. But is it really? Peel back the label, and the truth is far murkier than the juice itself. That glass of apple juice you pour so confidently in the morning might not be the pure pressed fruit you believe it to be. Many popular brands add a cocktail of extra sugars, fructose, glucose, and sucrose, turning what should be a simple fruit beverage into a sugar bomb. Some juices even taste sweeter than the apples they claim to come from. Why? Because they're engineered that way. It's sweetness by design, not nature, to keep that flavor consistent and long-lasting. Manufacturers often add citramalic acid, a compound made to mimic the natural tartness of apples while acting as a preservative. Doesn't sound so bad until you realize it's one more chemical hiding behind the word natural. And here's the kicker: not all apples used in juice are orchard fresh. Bruised, damaged, or even moldy apples. Yes, moldy often find their way into the production line. These subpar apples can carry patulin, a toxic byproduct of mold that even the pasteurization process doesn't completely remove. That sweet sip might come with a silent risk no label ever mentions. Still feel like this is just harmless juice. Think about it, you're drinking a liquid that's been filtered, sweetened, acidified, and possibly contaminated, all under the comforting illusion of health. Meanwhile, a whole apple gives you fiber, nutrients, and a balance of natural sugars your body actually understands. So why settle for a processed version of something nature already perfected? Next time you crave that bright amber drink, pause for a moment. That healthy choice might just be a sugary, souped-up shadow of the real fruit. The question isn't whether apple juice tastes good, it's whether the real cost is hiding behind the flavor. Number 6. Cheese. Creamy, salty, melts like magic. Cheese has long been a comfort food, a staple of everything from grilled sandwiches to pasta bakes. But while it may seem like a simple luxury, the process behind that familiar wedge of cheddar or square of Parmesan holds a truth that few consumers truly understand. At the center of traditional cheesemaking is rennet, an enzyme that causes milk to curdle, separating it into solid curds and liquid whey. What most people don't realize is that this enzyme is often harvested from the stomach lining of young calves. That's right, animal rennet, still used in many types of cheese today, especially traditional European varieties like Parmesan and Gruyere, is extracted from the inner lining of a calf's fourth stomach. The lining is dried, powdered, and introduced into milk to trigger the transformation into cheese. This practice dates back centuries, long before vegetarianism became mainstream. While many brands now use microbial or plant-based alternatives in response to ethical concerns, a significant number of cheeses still depend on the original animal-based method, and unless you check the label, you might never know which kind you're eating. But the unsettling origins don't end there. Cheese also happens to be one of the most saturated fat-dense foods on our shelves. Just one small serving, less than the size of a matchbox, can contain up to 30% of your daily limit for saturated fat. Varieties like cheddar, brie, and blue cheese may taste indulgent, but they also quietly contribute to rising cholesterol and long-term heart issues when eaten without restraint. Here's the dilemma: cheese is both nourishing and harmful, depending entirely on how it's made and how much you consume. It delivers calcium and protein, yes, but it can also sneakily overload your arteries. So while that slice of Gouda may seem harmless, remember what it takes to bring it to your plate. A little curiosity about your cheese might be the healthiest ingredient of all. Number 7. Chicken nuggets. Golden on the outside, soft and savory on the inside, chicken nuggets have been a lunchbox favorite for generations. They're the ultimate comfort food, poppable, dippable, and undeniably nostalgic. But few people ever stop to ask, what exactly are we biting into? Here's a truth that doesn't make it onto the label. Many chicken nuggets are made not from whole cuts of meat, but from something called mechanically separated chicken. This isn't tender breast meat, but a paste-like substance created by grinding the leftover carcass of the bird bones, connective tissue, and scraps of meat after all the premium cuts have been stripped away. It's efficiency at its finest, and most disturbing. This grayish paste is then mixed with salt, flavor enhancers, and a cocktail of fillers to produce a uniform taste and texture. The result? A nugget that feels like chicken but is actually a heavily engineered imitation. Those juicy bites aren't juicy because they're fresh. They're juicy because they're manufactured to taste that way. What's more, stabilizers and preservatives are often added to help the nuggets maintain flavor and texture over long periods in cold storage. And let's not forget the sodium. Many processed nuggets are loaded with salt to enhance taste and extend shelf life. The result is a hyper-palatable snack that's cheap to produce, addictive to eat, and startlingly far from the real thing. Consider this: are we truly eating chicken or just the illusion of it? How much real meat is actually in each bite? And how much is just filler and flavor, science? For those who care about what's going into their body or their child's lunch, it pays to look deeper than the crispy coating. Some brands now offer nuggets made from whole muscle meat, with no mechanically separated slurry, no mystery fillers. These versions are closer to the real food chicken should be. It's not about giving up chicken nuggets altogether. It's about demanding they live up to the name. Number 8. Hot dogs. They sizzle, they snap, and they've earned their spot at every American cookout from 4th of July parades to stadium bleachers. Hot dogs are woven into our culture like fireworks and apple pie, but behind the smoky aroma and soft bun lies a story that's far less savory. Beneath the surface of that smooth, meaty cylinder is not prime beef or tender pork loin, it's a slurry of animal leftovers. Hot dogs are typically made from trimmings and byproducts of the parts that don't qualify for your steaks. Chops or roasts. We're talking about organs, connective tissue, and fat all tossed into industrial grinders and reduced to a paste so unrecognizable. It's more science experiment than food preparation, but the transformation doesn't stop there. Into this meat mash goes corn syrup, not just for sweetness, but to bulk up the mixture and stretch it farther. Then comes the salt, so much salt that a single hot dog can bring you uncomfortably close to your entire day's recommended sodium intake. And finally, liquid smoke is added, mimicking that grilled, backyard taste, even if the hot dog never touches a flame. What you taste isn't real smoke or real meat, it's flavor engineering, designed to create the illusion of quality. Once the concoction is flavored, it's pumped into casings, steamed until firm, and flash frozen. They're shipped out in shiny plastic packages, ready to hit the grill. But here's the part no one wants to talk about. Regular consumption of processed meats has been linked to increased risks of heart disease, high blood pressure, and even certain cancers. That quick, satisfying bite comes with a price, one your body keeps a tally on over time. So here's the uncomfortable question. When did we start accepting scraps as tradition? Why are we still celebrating a food so far removed from its natural origin? That hot dog may be a symbol of American summer, but the truth behind it is anything but warm and sunny. Maybe it's time to rethink what belongs on your grill and what doesn't. Number 9, burgers. Few foods are as universally loved as a juicy burger. It's the icon of American comfort cuisine stacked, satisfying, and sizzling off the grill. But beneath that sesame seed bun and glossy melted cheese is a cocktail of hidden ingredients and health concerns that rarely make it into the conversation. Let's start with the patty. What looks like simple ground beef is often a processed blend made from fattier cuts of meat, engineered to deliver maximum flavor with minimum cost. That extra fat. It doesn't just make the patty juicier, it also raises the risk of elevated cholesterol and heart disease. The more indulgent the burger, the more damage it may quietly be doing behind the scenes. Fast food chains often don't stop at fat. To extend shelf life and cut costs, many patties include fillers and preservatives. Salt is one of the biggest culprits. A standard fast food burger can pack more than 1,000 milligrams of sodium, nearly half of the daily recommended limit for adults. And that's before you even get to the toppings. Now picture the bun soft, sweet, and seemingly harmless, but it's typically loaded with high fructose corn syrup, added sugars, and preservatives to keep it feeling fresh long after it leaves the oven. Then come the condiments cheese, mayo, ketchup, each adding layers of saturated fat, sugar, and even more sodium. What began as a simple sandwich quickly morphs into a dense, processed calorie bomb. Here's a thought worth chewing on: how much of that burger is actually food, and how much is engineering? When nearly every component has been enhanced, extended, or artificially flavored, are we still enjoying a meal or consuming a chemically tuned formula built for taste, not health? Choosing to swap just one fast food burger a week for a homemade or plant-based option could cut hundreds of unnecessary calories and grams of fat from your diet. Your taste buds might miss the punch at first, but your heart, blood pressure, and waistline might be begging for the change. Number 10, honey. It glows like liquid gold, drizzles smoothly into your tea, and carries the wholesome reputation of nature's sweetest gift. But honey, for all its natural appeal, isn't quite as straightforward as most people think. Beneath the charm of honeybees and wildflowers lies a complex, sometimes unsettling story that deserves a closer look. Let's start with the basics. Honey isn't simply nectar collected from flowers, it's a substance that's been regurgitated by bees, literally. Bees gather nectar and store it in a special honey stomach where it mixes with digestive enzymes, once back at the hive. The bees vomit this mixture into honeycombs. Then, with an astonishing act of teamwork, they fan it with their wings to evaporate moisture, slowly transforming it into the thick, sugary substance we call honey. Once humans step in, the process becomes even more industrial. Beekeepers remove the frames, spin them in high-speed centrifuges, and filter the extracted liquid. What ends up in the jar is a version of honey that's been strained, processed, and sometimes altered. Here's where things turn sticky. Despite its natural image, honey is still sugar. 1 teaspoon delivers about 21 calories more than plain white sugar. Yes, it contains trace nutrients like iron and vitamin C, but not in amounts meaningful enough to call it healthy. And worse yet, not all honey is what it claims to be. Some cheaper brands are diluted with corn syrup or rice syrup, stripped of their purity and loaded with additives that undercut the very idea of honey being natural. Studies have even found that some imported honey contains illegal antibiotics or heavy metals. That golden glow may hide a product that's been tampered with far from the hive. So what is honey? Really a marvel of nature or a sweet illusion repackaged for shelf life and profit? It might be time to treat honey with the same caution we give to sugar. And if purity matters to you, skip the mass-produced brands and look for raw, local honey where at least the bees, not the factory, did most of the work. Number 11. Microwave popcorn. It smells like comfort. You press a button, wait for the rhythmic pops, and in moments, you're holding a warm bag of buttery popcorn perfect for movie night. But that convenient little pouch might be packing more than just kernels and flavor. In fact, what's lurking inside could change how you see this classic snack forever. Each microwave popcorn bag is coated with a chemical barrier to keep grease from soaking through and to help the kernels pop evenly. That coating often contains a class of synthetic compounds known as PFAS, short for per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These chemicals don't just vanish when heated. When that bag goes into the microwave, PFAS can break down into toxic substances that enter your food and, worse, your body. And once inside, they don't leave easily. PFAS can accumulate in your system for years, with research linking them to cancer, liver damage, thyroid issues, and weakened immune function. But the bag isn't the only issue. The artificial butter flavor that gives microwave popcorn its irresistible aroma often contains a compound called diacetyl. This chemical is safe to eat, but when inhaled regularly, like when a steaming bag is opened inches from your face, it has been linked to a severe lung condition known as popcorn lung. This irreversible disease has been documented in factory workers who were exposed to concentrated levels, while casual consumers aren't facing the same exposure. The potential for harm remains unsettling. Is your snack worth that risk? Here's the good news: popping your own kernels on the stovetop or in an air popper completely bypasses these hidden hazards. No coated bags, no industrial chemicals, no lab-made aromas, just corn, oil if you choose, and the freedom to season it your way. Modern convenience often disguises real danger in shiny packaging. Sometimes, the safest choices aren't the fastest, but they're the ones that let you sleep easy when the credits roll. Number 12. Margarine. It spreads like butter, looks like butter, and is often marketed as the smarter, heart-friendly option, but margarine's journey from plant oil to golden spread tells a very different story. Behind its smooth texture and appealing price tag lies a chemistry experiment that raises more red flags than you might expect. Margarine is born not from cream, but from vegetable oils, usually soybean or palm, that undergo a process called hydrogenation. In this high-pressure procedure, hydrogen gas is forced into liquid oils to make them solid at room temperature. Sounds efficient. But this transformation creates trans fats, artificial fats that the medical community has long warned against. Unlike natural fats found in butter, trans fats are engineered molecules with a nasty reputation. They increase LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, and lower HDL cholesterol, the good kind. This dual assault on your cardiovascular system makes trans fats particularly dangerous, contributing to blocked arteries, heart attacks, and strokes. It's not a minor dietary concern. It's a compound strongly linked to some of the deadliest chronic conditions. But the processing doesn't stop there, since hydrogenated oil doesn't look or taste like butter. Manufacturers add artificial coloring, flavorings, and even chemical solvents like hexane during production. These additives are designed to mask unpleasant odors and trick your senses into thinking you're enjoying something rich and natural. In reality, Margarine could be more of a manufactured mimic than a wholesome food. This raises a critical question: are you spreading nutrition or science fiction onto your morning toast? While some modern margarine brands have found ways to reduce or eliminate trans fats, not all have followed suit. Labels can be deceptive, and small amounts of trans fats can still sneak in under regulatory thresholds. That plant-based label may sound appealing, but it's not a guarantee of health. Real butter, in moderation, or even a drizzle of olive oil may offer a simpler, more transparent alternative. Margarine may seem like a harmless swap, but your heart might not agree years down the road. Number 13. Spam. It slides out of the can with an unmistakable plop, holds its perfect pink shape, and has been a curious fixture on kitchen shelves for decades. Spam, it's iconic, instantly recognizable, and oddly polarizing. For some, it's a nostalgic comfort food. For others, it's the poster child of processed meat. But behind its familiar blue and yellow label lies a formula far removed from the simplicity its name might suggest. Spam is primarily made from pork shoulder and ham, but the process it undergoes turns recognizable meat into something almost unrecognizable. The pork is ground into a fine, uniform paste, then combined with salt, sugar, water, potato starch, and sodium nitrate. This mixture is vacuum sealed into cans and cooked under pressure to create a shelf-stable product that can last for years. That's not an exaggeration. We're talking about meat that might outlive your pantry spices. One key ingredient, sodium nitrate, is what gives Spam its rosy pink color even after sitting on a shelf for months or longer. While effective at preserving meat, nitrates have raised alarm bells in numerous studies, particularly when heated. They can convert into nitrosamines, compounds linked to increased cancer risk, for a food so commonly fried or grilled. This is more than just a hypothetical concern. Then there's the salt. A single can of Spam can contain over 4,600 milligrams of sodium, twice the recommended daily limit. That much salt doesn't just season the meat, it strains the heart, raises blood pressure, and builds risk over time. So where does this leave Spam? It's undeniably practical. Especially in emergencies or food shortages, it lasts forever, requires no refrigeration, and delivers protein fast. But the cost of convenience is measured in hidden health risks. Is long shelf life worth long-term damage to your arteries? Spam isn't just pork. It's a high-sodium, nitrate-preserved, factory-processed product designed for survival, not nourishment. If it's in your pantry, maybe it should stay there for emergencies, not everyday meals, from golden honey to sizzling hot dogs. It's clear that not everything in our kitchens is as innocent as it seems. Behind the flavors we love are stories that deserve a second look. Our health depends on more than just taste, it depends on truth. If this video made you rethink what's really on your plate, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep uncovering the facts, one bite at a time.